This episode of Nerdist News is sponsored by Tor Books. We're breaking down 6 details hidden in Glass' first trailer. The Marvel Cinematic Universe might be sitting out San Diego Comic-Con this year, but that's okay, because the other big movie universes came to play, and fans are about to lose their GD minds over it. And we ain't talking about the DC Extended Universe, by the way. No, we're of course referring to the Shyamalan-iverse, the cinematic universe we had no idea that even existed until last year when the director's thriller Split actually turned out to be a secret sequel to his nearly 2-decade-old classic, Unbreakable. Director M. Night Shyamalan, along with stars Bruce Willis, Samuel L. Jackson, Sarah Paulson, and Anya Taylor-Joy, took to the stage at Hall H yesterday to give us our first look at Glass, the next chapter in the ongoing superhero saga. The trailer was equal parts epic and down-to-earth, and that's exactly the dramatic juxtaposition that makes these movies such a unique addition to today's superhero-saturated cinematic landscape. It had plenty of awesome action, but also a ton of the creepy character work and moody atmosphere that Shyamalan is known for. But what did the trailer tell us about the final film? Well, maybe more than you might realize, because in fact there were several details hidden within the trailer, and we're about to break them down right now. First up, the trailer seems pretty non-linear, featuring Sarah Paulson as a new character, Dr. Ellie Staple, talking about her work as a psychiatrist studying wannabe superheroes. We get footage of Willis, Jackson, and James McAvoy in action as their comic booky alter egos, the Sentinel, Mr. Glass, and the Horde, respectively. But if you pay attention, you'll see clues as to what the actual plot will be. We're pretty sure the scene of Paulson talking to these 3 institutionalized men takes place about halfway through the film, and that means the first half of Glass will probably chronicle Staple's attempts to capture or study Willis and McAvoy's characters. Jackson, of course, was arrested by the authorities way back in 2000 when it was revealed that he was a train-crashing supervillain at the end of Unbreakable. Now, our guess is that the film starts with Willis as David Dunn, aka the Sentinel, trying to track the Horde down and take him in. We see a shot of Dunn bumping into someone and having a vision of trapped cheerleaders who have presumably been taken by Kevin Wendell Crumb, and as we saw at the end of Split, Dunn seems resolved to track down Crumb after watching the news in the diner. That leads to a showdown in a creepy warehouse where the Beast has the cheerleaders lined up as his next meal. Now, during this time, Paulson's tracking both Dunn and Crumb, waiting for a chance to bring them both in. Now, we can't say for sure how the face-off between the two will end, but it probably leads to this shot of Paulson pulling Willis out of the water, which, if you're up on your Shyamalan-iverse lore, you'll remember water is the Sentinel's only weakness. But what does she want with them exactly? Well, in the trailer, she says she's interested in studying their delusions of grandeur. But we're not so sure she's being completely honest about that. I mean, if you take a look at the prison cells that she set up for Willis and McAvoy, you'll see that she's clearly done her homework. Willis's cell is outfitted with about 1,000 sprinklers, which will allow Paulson to subdue and control him should he ever try to break out. And McAvoy's cell comes equipped with a bunch of strobe lights, which we bet will allow her to trigger any of the Horde's 24 individual personalities at will or throw a sweet EDM rave. With all of that in place, you have to figure that Paulson believes in their powers to some extent. Now, we think this means that Paulson isn't bringing them together to study them, but to unite them, which would make her kind of like the Professor X of the Shyamalan-iverse. I mean, her name even kind of hints at this, Dr. Ellie Staple. She's bringing them together, just like a big old superhero stapler.
No way.
I mean, it's like a little on the nose, but hey, comic books. And it's really, I mean, look at any of the other naming conventions in the rest of this franchise. Subtlety is not the MO here. In fact, in this blink and you'll miss it moment, we see what looks like another superhuman in the wings. Now, watch as we see this kid jumping someone outside of a convenience store. It looks like the same kid who we saw in the comic store under both a heroes and villains neon sign. This is just speculation, but like Professor X, Paulson could be attempting to find these individuals before they turn to a life of crime. And finally, what about the titular character of the film, Mr. Glass himself? I mean, we presume he's been institutionalized since we last saw him at the end of Unbreakable, and it's clear that Paulson is just as interested in his powers as the other two. We even hear him mention a villain team up with Crumb, so will it be David Dunn and Casey Cook to take them down? And could Paulson even be in cahoots with Mr. Glass? I have so many questions. Now again, this is all speculation, but we can't wait to find out what Glass holds in store when it hits theaters next year. But what do you folks think? Are you stoked for Glass? What other connections do you think these heroes share? And did this trailer shatter all your expectations? Pun obviously intended, it's me. Let's discuss. Thanks to Tor Books for sponsoring this episode of Nerdist News. Looking for your next summer read? Tor publishes the latest in science fiction and fantasy from Brandon Sanderson, John Scalzi, Cory Doctorow, and V.E. Schwab. Read Vicious by New York Times bestselling author V.E. Schwab, a story of superpowered villains, and get ready for its sequel, Vengeful, this September. Follow at Tor Books for more details and exclusive sneak peeks. Join Alpha today for more of our sweet, sweet SDCC coverage. But not only that, you'll get exclusive Nerdist, Geek and Sundry, and Alpha-only shows, plus amazing parties, VIP access, and even a discount on merchandise. Use code SDCC18 for a free 90-day trial today.